Hey guys, welcome to Hughes History. We're doing the Constitution for Dummies series, and we're going to check off the list the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution, ratified in 1951. So short and sweet and right to the point. Pork chops and applesauce. If I can do a little bit of the teaching, you give me a moment to do that, you'll do a little bit of the learning, and our brains will grow 3 times its size. Let's do it. Let's take a look first at the words of the 22nd Amendment. We're going to put a little bit of music. Bam!
The 22nd Amendment, Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice, and no person who has held the office of President or acted as President for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected President shall be elected to the office of the President more than once. Section 2. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by the Congress.
So there you go, guys. The 22nd Amendment, better known as the No More Than Two-Term Amendment, like I said, was ratified in 1951 following the death of FDR, who of course served 4 terms. We'll get to that in a second. The easiest way to remember the amendment, if you're doing like the memorization game for school or Jeopardy or something like that, is just keep saying 22, 2, 22. It's 2, 2, 22, 2, 2, 22. No more than 22, no 2 terms. Of course, the 22nd Amendment was part of what we call the Unwritten Constitution previous to its ratification in the early 1950s. And unwritten just means that it was kind of traditional that we kind of followed the lead of the precedent of the previous presidents. This all begins really with George Washington's farewell address, and as he leaves the nation, he eloquently steps down after 2 terms, referring a little bit to his age, but also kind of to the idea that, look, man, nobody should be doing this forever. So, of course, after Washington steps down, we have a 1-termer in John Adams, but then Thomas Jefferson does basically the same thing in his farewell address when he steps down after 2 terms. Madison and Monroe, also 2-term presidents, don't seek 3rd terms, and even the Democrat Andrew Jackson, he steps down after his 2nd term as well. Now, that's not to say that there weren't some brief episodes where some candidates played with the idea of 3 terms. I believe Grant tried to run again in 1880. That would have been a 3rd term kind of deal. We also had Grover Cleveland in 1896, who kind of played with the idea, and Teddy Roosevelt, of course, the Bull Moose Party in 1912, that would have been his 3rd term as well. It's just they never got past the primary, really, so it wasn't a serious consideration. And of course, it'll be FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was elected in 1932, kind of to combat the Great Depression. By 1940, when he's running for his 3rd term, the United States is really kind of at the cliff of war with Germany. This is the Lend-Lease Act, the early 1940s, late 1930s, where we're really starting to get sucked into the European theater, and FDR kind of played it like, if it was any other time, I'd step down. Totally true, totally true. But since we're at war, it's really not a great idea to shift commander-in-chiefs. That would be unsafe. So it's best to stay with me. It just happens to be me. So, you know, what are you going to do? And then, of course, he's reelected in 1944. And this is really where we first start to hear serious ideas about a constitutional amendment. In 1944, it was Republican governor of New York, Thomas Dewey, who's running against FDR, who brings up the idea that maybe we need to amend the Constitution, saying something as 16 years or 4 terms is kind of like really the biggest threat to democracy and freedom we've ever seen. And of course he loses, and then FDR has a hemorrhage and dies. Unfortunately for FDR, of course. But the idea here now is that we have a chance to write that sucker down. And the amendment procedure kicks off, I believe, in March of 1947, and by February 27th of 1951, we have enough states to ratify that baby. So, nothing too much else, I don't know. 12th Amendment, I guess. The 12th Amendment, of course, has language in there that no person who is not constitutionally eligible to be president can be vice president. So if somebody at a party says, for instance, could the let's say, could Bill Clinton come back and be vice president for, Hillary Clinton? And the answer would be no, because the 12th Amendment bars that, the language being no person constitutionally not eligible for president. And of course, Bill Clinton wouldn't be eligible for president because of the 22nd Amendment, which would make him, bam, ineligible to be the vice president. One side note is the Section 2 part that puts that deadline on there. That's the first amendment to have kind of a deadline. It says 7 years. And that was because of a recent Supreme Court ruling, Coleman versus Miller, 1939, that ruled for an amendment process to not go on forever. You need an expiration date. Otherwise, if you kick it to the states, it can rattle around there for, I don't know, upwards of 197 years. You should go look at the 27th Amendment. There you go, guys. So there you go, 22nd Amendment, 2222, no more than 2 terms. Check it off the list, guys. If you want to go right to the Constitution for Dummies playlist, you can click all that mumbo jumbo up there and you'll be zipped through the YouTubes to go watch that. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, what's up with that? Just click my face. I'll go away if you click my face. There you go, guys. Check out the description below. We have tons of other EDU peeps out there that are making great videos for the learning. And now you can go check the size of your brain. It should be twice its size. And remember, guys, where attention goes, energy flows. We'll see you next time on the internet.